Welcome to the live today, folks. I know a lot of you were wanting to check out this interview that we're hosting today with Ryan and Ryan. They're both Ryans. I know I was confused. Well, have you come up with a way to differentiate, or you just use Ryan?
We're still figuring it out.
Little Ryan, like Ryan W.
There's just other Ryan and other Ryan. So
Ryan B. And
I like it. Good stuff. Well, folks, first of all, thank you so much for jumping on and taking some of your time. Obviously, I know your business has been growing, so I'm sure things are getting a bit busier. But thanks for jumping on here today. And folks, if you're watching either the live or the replay, if you have questions about how these guys are building their businesses or the strategies or whatever we talk about today, feel free to comment them down below. But I'm excited to dive into this one and share a little bit more with you folks. So to get started, why don't you guys go ahead, introduce yourself, tell people who you are, the business that you run, just so that they have the foundation, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. I can start. I'm Ryan M. So we have a lead generation business. So we've been generating leads for clients in a bunch of different niches for about 5 years now. Before that, we did a lot of much more like general marketing. Ryan and I actually know each other from high school. We live about 20 minutes apart in Vancouver, or outside of Vancouver here. We started focusing on lead gen, really had some good success with that. We're able to grow our niches quite a bit, focusing on just selling leads and instead of doing retainers, we sell leads to clients. So that's what we decided. Hey, we could teach people about this. And when did we start doing that, Ryan? Maybe like a year and a half ago?
about a year and a half ago, we just started on the side organically. I'll let you continue.
We had no idea what we're doing. We tried a few different things with courses and some other stuff. And then I guess about a year and a half in, we started to really take it more seriously and found you guys. But basically everything we do is lead gen marketing. I don't know if Brian, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are wanting to learn more about that. And clearly by the demand that you guys have been able to find, it's clearly a good business model. So why don't you take people to pre-CCI, what you were working on with the coaching and the membership and all of that, and just give people a little bit of an insight on where things were at before.
I'll let you take this one, Ryan.
Sure. That's a good question. We were, like I said, we started this kind of on the side as there's some demand because we started a YouTube channel. It just happened organically. And then it came to a point where it's like, do we invest time and take this seriously? And we're like, and we enjoy it. It was good. So it's like, let's take a step into this and see what we can do about it. And then before you guys, we were just pedaling our tires. We didn't know which way to go. Should we use that platform? Should we charge X or charge Y? We had these ideas, but we wanted someone that we really bounce things off of.
100%, that's fair. And I know when we initially chatted, you guys had obviously tried a couple different things out. We tried maybe a little bit of the Facebook group stuff. We're looking at some Instagram stuff. What was the main reasons you finally decided to, hey, I'm actually going to take a chance on CCI, work with these people? What was the main, I guess, determining factor that you were like, I'm actually going to commit to this, even though we've tried a couple different things?
We'll alternate questions, Ryan.
Sure.
I think so. We definitely maybe spun our tires a bit. There's all these ideas out there. It's okay. You could take, obviously, there's a lot of different ways to do things. So we kind of felt like we just don't know which path to go down. I guess simple as that. So I think what really stood out to us was that you guys didn't seem to want to force us down one path, whereas some other courses or coaching things out there really were like, here's our system and here's how you do it. But it's like, oh, but we don't necessarily want to use your system. We want to use what's working for us and make it better. And so we originally had a big Discord channel, which we were putting people into, which had like 1,000 people. It was doing pretty well. We had our YouTube channel, had maybe 1,000 subscribers. We had people paying this low monthly ticket thing with us. But we really wanted to, I think, learn more of the overall aspects of how to run an actual coaching business that works for us and not just do someone else's thing that they've done and now they're teaching us to do, if that makes sense. So that was huge.
Wanted something that was a little bit more customized to what was already somewhat working and just how to amplify that. And I think it's so important because we see so many entrepreneurs coming into the online space and they actually have some type of channel that's like, it's somewhat working for them. And it's so detrimental. This is me rambling, but it's so detrimental when someone tells them to do something completely different, because we all know what it's like to start at the bottom with zero momentum again, right? Like, that's a lot harder. It's if I was running, I don't know, if I could run 10 miles and someone was like, no, you should get into biking, versus someone being like, I can just help you run even farther. Well, what's going to get me farther faster? Starting at ground zero in a different sport or just optimizing my current sport, right?
Right.
And so it's so shiny object syndrome is real. We all want the different things, the things that are out there, and the grass is greener. But I'm happy you guys decided that, hey, let's figure out how to amplify what we currently got going on. So walk people through a little bit. The first couple of months, obviously working with CCI, and there were some shifts and changes, right? Because at the beginning we had the membership and the high ticket. Then you felt like, hey, maybe I don't want to do the high ticket. So walk people through maybe a little bit of the results that you were seeing working with CCI, and maybe some of the shifts that you made that you found helpful with growing the business.
Ryan, I think you might be able to dive in a little bit deeper, but the biggest thing that when we came into it, we were really dabbling with, do we want to do high ticket, low ticket? Where does, our offerings kind of fit? And how does that fit with us and our main business and our time that way?
Yeah.
So that's something we was pretty important to figure out, which we were trying a couple different things, pivoted a little bit, and this kind of helped with you guys and bounced ideas, results. Okay, do we pivot here? And maybe, and through those conversations, maybe we didn't go exactly the route that our coach mentioned, but that spurred some conversations. And then we took that and then made it a little bit different. Works for us, which I know super helpful.
Awesome. No, and in business, I often tell people you're not going to know if you're going to like something or not until you get there, right?
Totally.
It's kind of even when you're at a restaurant and you can like look at the food on the menu, you can see the picture, like, I think I'm going to like that. But until it's actually in front of you and you're trying it, you don't know for sure if you're going to like it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's important to experiment, get the feedback, and then make those pivots.
Totally.
And I know you folks were obviously working with Cassie and she was giving you strategy and different things like that. For the people that are viewing, and by the way, folks, if you're watching this and you got questions, go ahead and write them down below. Oh, Cassie just jumped on. There you go, Cassie.
Oh, he's here to support us.
Yeah. Not anything bad about Cassie now, guys. Just
shoot.
What were some of the maybe the main, whether it's strategies or systems that she helped you implement that maybe gave you the biggest return or even maybe gave you some more time back in your life? What was the most helpful?
Yeah, I would say, I think just from day one, well, Cassie knows what she's talking about. I'm not saying that because she's here. But for real, she had a very good understanding of everything as a whole. And I think the biggest thing, if I could say one thing, she's very data driven and she forced us to just look at the data. She's like, you can talk about all these things, that's great, but how many people are joining your free thing per month? What is it costing you per, how many people are converting to this? And we're like, we don't know. She's like, well, we should probably figure that out. So there was several versions of that example that happened that really were game changers because now I can look every single morning at a dashboard and see exactly what's happening, which I literally was just anxiously hoping things were working and pushing content out and just freaking out. So now it feels like we have such a good grasp of what we're doing. And she was also, I think it was really cool she was very supportive when we tried the one-on-one coaching thing and we found that we just didn't have time to run that business and we didn't necessarily enjoy it as much as we thought. And that's good for some people, but for us, we wanted to do more group coaching, low ticket, mid ticket. Yeah. We have our business we're still running. This isn't something we did and now we're teaching, we're doing it. So she was very supportive of that and then helped us. She's like, let's do it, let's pivot. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. She's like doing this with us. Not being like, no, you have to do the one-on-one thing. That's what we teach here. So it's just like, that was cool. So
and I find that that's so important because the beautiful thing and the hard thing about business is that there's so many on, right? But once you start to figure out what works well for you, it's just like move in that direction, get the advice for that. And I know one of the things that you guys kind of worked through as well with Cassie is having a setter on board. Can you talk through that a little bit of how you got the setter on board and how well they've been performing? Because from what I've heard, it's been working fairly well. And I'd love for people to understand also a little bit about when you're scaling, how to utilize a setter. So would you mind taking a couple of minutes on that?
Maybe I will take this one. You can add to it if you want. Just because so originally when we were doing the one-on-one thing, that is when our setter joined. So I just got to the point where I was like, my day was 8 1-hour Zooms and I hated my life. So I was like, well, this can't be that sustainable. Just doing sales calls and the coaching side of things too. And Ryan was helping with the coaching calls as well. But we just got to the point where I was like, we have a decent amount of people coming into, I think, he joined when we had a Skool. So we switched from Discord to Skool. We have a free Skool. We have a paid Skool that's $99 per month. And we basically, that's our funnel. YouTube, free Skool, paid Skool. Beginning, I think before we got the setter, Cassie was very adamant about, okay, we need to know the data first. And that's what I was kind of talking about first is like, for sure, I get that your margin is thin here and we do need a setter, but let's just take 1 week and really understand if we get the setter, what are the metrics going to be here so that you're not just throwing money out the window. So that was, I think, very crucial. I think we hired the setter at the perfect point, not like it wasn't too late. And we also, I feel like it's kind of like a godsend. We got a little lucky because this guy, we posted on Upwork, a job posting. I reached out to a few different networks and this guy, Sergio, he goes by Tato is his nickname. So he just happened to reach out to me. I was like, oh, a couple of people reach out to me. I don't know, whatever. And he ended up interviewing and just had really great experience with high ticket offers and just came in and just absolutely crushed it. And just as he's amazing. So that was really cool. I think it might not it's our first setter we've ever hired, and he's just knocking it out of the park. So I don't know other people's experiences with that, but I think
that
pairing
is a
that
good experience. That's the hope for a lot of people. But I would say on average, you're going through a couple before you find a real gem. So good on you.
we definitely interviewed quite a few people, and I just felt like this guy had the experience and had the drive. He's a go-getter. But then again, pairing that with the dashboard and the statistics we had, we could really point him in the right direction and steer him in that. So now now it feels like this is such a manageable business for us. It's taking us a tenth of the time, making us more money, and we're focusing on other ventures that we have. It's pretty nice.
I love that. And that's the beauty of having a good system to then delegate, right? So many people we call it abdicate, because they're basically like, I don't want to do something and I'm not good at it, and I don't know if it works. I'm going to get someone else to do it. And they spend all this money and it doesn't work well for them. And someone was asking in the comments, is a setter the same thing as a VA? And the answer is no. A VA is normally an admin type of task. A setter is someone who's trained to generate leads and to often set appointments or to sell lower ticket items. So they're very specialized. A virtual assistant is usually more general, and a setter is very specialized. So that's a great question, actually. Other questions that you have, folks, throw them down below. I didn't want to take too much of your time, guys. So the last question that I have for you folks today is for the people that are watching here today or watching the replay. In your opinion, for some of these entrepreneurs, whether they're new or maybe they're making a couple of grand a month, what is the number one, whether it's strategy or hack, that you've learned in your different ventures that will allow some of these newer entrepreneurs to get to their first $10,000 a month or to their first $15,000 a month?
That's a great question. There's a lot to go with that. I would say leave no stone unturned, but don't be scared to pivot quickly. So we help a lot of people who are starting or have a little bit of traction, and they're trying to get to that next level. And just don't be paralyzed on decision making. Try something, throw it out there, see if it works. If it doesn't, no problem. Pivot quickly and try something else or something along those lines.
I love that.
It's definitely similar to what I was going to say in terms of, we definitely have a lot of people that are like, is this ready to launch yet? Just launch it, dude. Just do it. That's kind of, I think, the fear of failure that stops people, that paralyzes people. Not that you want to put out a bad product, but I think a minimum viable product is an important thing to do. And we failed in most of the stuff that we've tried, but once it hits, because we rinse and repeat. And even with the coaching business, it's 2 months into 8 hours of calls a day. We need to do something here. We're making money and we can make money with this, but it's like we're pivoting, and then boom, we pivot. And we had to try it to know that we didn't want that to pivot into something that worked better. So
everyone wants the feedback on what they should do without doing the work that creates the feedback, right? That's what we always tell people. There's a feedback loop. Is you do shit, you get feedback, and then you make decisions off of that feedback, and then you do more shit, right?
Totally.
You just keep that cycle.
Legit.
Basically, you're just problem solving until you're in a place where you want to be, right? So that's great advice. I just want to thank you guys for jumping on, and I'm super excited that you guys have grown in CCI. Actually, sorry, I said last question. This is actually the last question, because I know I've been telling everyone, obviously, the business growth that you guys have seen. If you wouldn't mind sharing, and if you're okay with sharing some numbers, actually, what type of monetary amount have you been able to start to make monthly with the business, with these strategies, just so that people know that when I'm trying to sell them, they don't think I'm just blowing.
Sure. I can answer this because I have the dashboard, but essentially right now, like I say, for the past 3 months since we've pivoted from one-on-one coaching to monthly, should I back up even further? I think when we started with CCI, we maybe had about 50 monthly users, Ryan. Is that maybe 50, 60?
Yeah, around
maybe less. So we had about 50 monthly people paying $99 US, which for us Canadians is a lot more. It's 140, which is nice. We did some one-on-one, or we tried one-on-one, and we did, I think, between 10 and 15K for 3 months. And then we realized, oh, this is a lot. We think we can do this low ticket thing because we already have the low ticket thing running. So we focus on the low ticket thing now 100%. Doesn't require sales calls. Setter can close them right over DMs. DM every single person that joins our school. We sell $3,000 or $4,000 packages a month over DMs as well. So that's a full year, and you get a one-on-one strategy call. So last month we were around 20K. Our recurring right now is about 13,000 USD, which is 17, 18K Canadian. And then we usually get $3,000 or $4,000 USD packages again, which is 1,400 Canadian. So this month we'll, I think, pretty easily break 20K. And we each do our group call a week, a Q&A call, and then we do like our content, and we've really trimmed down what we do to make sure it's like worth doing. So yeah, anyways, we're making the same amount or more, but spending like a tenth of the time, which is really sweet. So
I think what you just described is the dream for most people. I'm sure most people watching this are like, how the heck can I make that happen? So I know you guys are obviously, you've worked on the skills for many years. You've done you've worked through all of it. So you've definitely earned it. And obviously now you're reaping the rewards for it. So kudos to you guys. But anyways, folks, that's all the time we had for today. Any other questions you have, you can throw them in the comments or throw them over my way in Messenger. But thanks for jumping on today, folks. Ryan and Ryan, thanks for being on here, and have a great rest of your day, folks.